it wasn't until 2020 that I actually sat down and watched Texas Chainsaw.
All right, how do I turn this on?
Hey, here we are. A day late and $1 short.
And no one watching.
And nobody watching because it's Thursday and not Wednesday, the normal show time. So we're probably we're probably gonna breeze through the show today. Especially since we got some news, but mostly
Cool. Okay.
gonna be talking about Alien.
Yeah. I mean, that's been the topic of conversation, but just about everybody.
Everybody's been talking about Alien.
Yeah.
Which makes me salty because my most recent video reviewing it is like in the tank.
Because your opinion sucks.
My opinion is grounded and factual.
Yeah.
Whether it sucks or not is up. Whether it sucks or not is up to the individual.
Can never be factual.
Okay, I'm ready to argue that. I will.
No,
I'll tell you
an
how.
opinion is never a fact.
No. I will tell you how the facts of this film influence my opinion.
But that doesn't change that it's still an opinion, and an opinion can't be a fact.
Okay, fine.
That's all I'm saying.
What I
got some people know. What up, people?
So we're going to talk about it as soon as I pull up the news article. Here it is. And
let's start with some news.
Yeah, we're going to start with news. I'm going to start. Well, have you watched anything other than that while I pull this up? Like, I know Alien's the biggest movie, but you've probably seen some other stuff. Go ahead and talk about that real quick.
I went and saw Stream last night.
I want to see that. Is it good?
It's I don't know if you're gonna like it. It's like it's one of those like it's like
but we know what it is, right?
Reminds me a lot of Hatchet.
It's not okay. I liked Hatchet.
Yeah, where it's like, it's super low budget. It's dumb. Like there's a lot of things you could easily pick apart, but it's just good dumb fun. It's not trying to be anything other than that. It like knows it's stupid, but the thing that really made it noteworthy to me was like I've never seen a movie with this many horror icons in it. And what was cool is not only are they in it like tons and tons and tons of cameos, like over a dozen, but they actually, a lot of them have roles, and they're not just simply like one line. It's not like you have Wes Craven as Freddy Krueger in the hallway, as the janitor in Freddy or Nightmare on Elm Street.
Yeah.
Or no, is that Scream? That's Scream, right? Yeah, Scream.
Yeah.
It's not like that. It's like literally they actually have a role for a second doing something and a couple lines and like their moment to shine. So I was really pleasantly surprised with that. And then beyond that, like Tim Reed, who I haven't seen since the It miniseries, when I was a kid, has a full-on role in this. It plays like an old retired cop, and I thought he was great in it. And then Danielle Harris really shines in it. Like she's phenomenal. And just made me scratch my head as to why she doesn't get more opportunities to be in movies anymore. Because it's not like she's, it's one thing when you're like in your 60s or 70s and you were never a huge name. Like that's one thing, when you're like well past your prime. But Danielle Harris is still smoking hot, and she's like not even my age. Like she's like, right around 40.
Have her call me up. I got a role for her.
Dude. Like, I don't get it. Like, I know she wants to work.
I'll cast her.
I mean, maybe she like, what we don't know is she actually wants more money than what, you know what I mean? Like maybe.
Yeah, that could be a thing.
But I doubt it at this point. Like nobody could have gotten paid much to be in this movie because there's so many of them.
Yeah.
I've literally never seen this many cameos. Like basically, if you've been to a horror convention, all the who's who of the conventions that you see at all the conventions, they're all in it, like all of them.
Wow.
Yeah, and it's because it's all the Terrifier people that made this.
Yeah.
You know, and so they're all like friends. They're all have become like this big family, so to speak. And so they're all helping each other out, like being in each other's projects and stuff. It's smart. It's a way to keep your name, out there. So yeah, I had fun with it. Like, you definitely can't go into expecting, something that's not going to have problems with the script or cast. Like some of the cast is not great. Like the horror, the horror icons, they're all great and they all act their asses off. But some of the other people that you won't recognize don't have the greatest acting performances. But yeah, the gore is phenomenal because Damien Leone does the gore. And like he brings it Terrifier style. Like there is some really savage gore in this.
Nice.
Yeah.
Somebody said 47. I thought that was talking about the
that old
episode.
Wow.
47.
Phenomenal for 47.
Yeah, I'll cast her.
I thought she was younger than me.
All right. You want to get in the news?
Yep.
All righty. So, by the way, if you guys haven't, those watching, if you've not hit that like button, please do so. And please, if you are not watching on the Screaming Room, please go over to that channel and watch us on the Screaming Room and subscribe to the channel. We'd love to see you guys over there. And make sure you're active in the chat. So while I'm looking for this, let's
one news story I just saw that I hadn't really paid much attention to yet was they finally dropped officially the new damn it, where is it? Sorry, I'm trying to find the story.
Are you almost there? You want me to get into
the new Salem's Lot reboot?
Oh yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, officially is now dropping in October on Max, which we already knew, but it's official now. But they dropped a bunch of first look images, so I think we should
take a look at that.
Pull those up too.
Yeah, we could take a look at that.
I'm like so curious. This movie has got to be bad. Like, I can't imagine there's any way after delaying it almost 3 years and it not going to theaters, now just going to Max, they're
trying to memory hole it, just like they're trying to memory hole the Acolyte. Have you seen that? I know we don't talk a lot about Star Wars here, but
no,
it's that shitty Star Wars show. They removed all merchandise from the Disney site for the Acolyte. They're trying to memory hole it, just like they memory hold Willow. Yeah, just like they memory hold Willow. They're trying.
That's different. That's different because they put a shitload of money into Acolyte. Yeah, but both those, like I'm saying, it's different than Salem's Lot because Salem's Lot was not like a big budget.
No, I understand.
It's not a big budget movie.
I understand. I'm just saying. Hey, what's going on, Mud Bomb? Good to see you. All right, let's talk about this real quick, and then I gotta go grab some coals. A24s,
A24. Damn it!
I just said it to make you mad. A24's Crystal Lake lands new showrunner for Friday the 13th prequel TV series. This is from Bloody Disgusting. Plans for A24 and Peacock's planned Friday the 13th television series Crystal Lake derailed earlier this year, with showrunner Brian Fuller from Hannibal's departure leaving the project in limbo. Deadline reports that the project's back on track and listing Brad Caleb Kane from It, Welcome to Derry as the new showrunner. Kane will serve as the series creator, showrunner, writer, and executive producer. Wow, that's a lot. To refresh your memory, Peacock had given the project a straight-to-series order in 2022, with Crystal Lake being described as an expanded prequel. Good God. I'm gonna have something to say about all of these prequels. And
I'm really nervous about this one.
I got something to say once we get into Alien, but like, stop with the prequels. Please stop. Original content. Good God. So anyway, described as an expanded prequel to the original Friday the 13th franchise, featuring both Jason Voorhees and his mother Pamela. Additionally, Vincenzo Natali, Cuban Splice, I think that's how you pronounce that first name. Vincenzo?
Yep. Vincenzo
and Kimberly Pierce, Boys Don't Cry and Carrie, were set to direct episodes with the budget ballooning to around $10 million per episode. Oh my God. with 8 episodes in total planned for the first season, and it would have cost A24 roughly $85 million to bring the series to life. Wow, that's
Yeah,
God.
and that's where there was a snafu, because A24 is like, whoa, we didn't know we had to commit to that level of money. Like, they've never done a TV series before. Or no, they did one other series before, but like this is like nothing they have ever done. And that's a huge level of money commitment. Like, they could release, a dozen movies for that much.
Yeah, that's a lot. God, you could do 8 $10 million movies.
Yeah,
for the cost of this show,
and they don't even spend that much on movies. Like,
yeah,
a lot of their movies are like a million or two. I mean, yeah, with marketing and all that, but still,
I mean, yeah, marketing.
But I do think, being that it's Friday the 13th, it's gonna make them a lot of money.
I mean, we'll see.
I just don't know why they didn't do a movie. Like, I'm still, I mean, like, I know there's legal stuff involved, but it's just like, God damn, you can't tell me that they can't pay the right people and get this worked out at this point and just make a fucking Friday the 13th movie.
I don't know.
Like, it's one of the most head scratcher things, that and Nightmare on Elm Street. I'm like, how do you not, like, with as much money as Halloween made, as Saw made, like, these sequels, like them or not, I mean, Alien Romulus, like these sequels or not, they're making a shitload of money.
Right.
Like,
but
how are they not making a Nightmare on Elm Street and Friday the 13th?
Listen, let's not push a Nightmare movie until I get the Hellgate out and people know who I am, so that I can direct it and do it justice.
No, I'm not sorry to say, dude, but there's a lot of people in front of you.
I don't care. I'm going to show them.
I mean, Mike Flanagan, Mike Flanagan said he wants to do Nightmare on Elm Street.
Then
so
I will be
sure.
I will be a PA on that set. I will.
Exactly.
Who's do I have to S to get on that set? I will.
But that's what you do. Like, you just get your foot in the door.
I will stomach LA for however long I have to in order to be on that set.
Usually now you don't even got to do LA. Like, most Flanagan projects are up in Canada.
Oh, that's right.
Toronto is where a lot of these movies get filmed now. Like that in Atlanta. Those are like two really popular spots to make movies now, depending on the climate you need, like looks wise.
All right, let me finish this. Kane has most recently served as a co-showrunner and executive producer of It, Welcome to Derry. And
but he also did Black Sails.
Right, that's what you said.
And that's why I'm like actually excited about this news, because Black Sails was really good.
In addition to Kane, executive producers on the series include A24 Victor Miller, who wrote the screenplay for the franchise's original 1980 film. Miller's copyright attorney, Mark Toberoff, Robert M. Barsamian, and Robert P. Barsamian. The project will mark A24's first major IP-driven project amid a recent effort to expand in a more commercial direction. From the moment I watched Jason Voorhees squeeze a guy's eyeball out of its socket in glorious 3D at the tender age of 8 years old, I knew my creative path was someday destined to converge with the man behind the mask, said Kane in a statement. Nothing defined my childhood more than growing up in the golden age of the slasher flick, and nothing's defined the genre more than Friday the 13th. I couldn't be more excited for the opportunity to contribute a chapter to this iconic franchise, particularly with such fearless partners as Peacock and A24. Now that Crystal Lake is back on track, I expect to hear a lot more about this Friday the 13th prequel series in the coming months. So that's it.
I don't know so much about Peacock being fearless.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
A24 are definitely fearless.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on that? I'll be right back. What are your thoughts?
I'm just super unsure. I'm just super unsure of this project. Like, I just don't, because of the prequel. Like DJ said, like, dude, like, why do we need a prequel? Like, can't we just do a series going forward? You could do prequel flashbacks, and so maybe they just do something like that. But if we spend, multiple episodes just setting up how Jason was killed and turns into Jason or whatever, like, I don't care, man. I don't care to see, Pamela Voorhees and like all of this, especially like, I just picture with A24 involved, we're going to get a whole lot of stuff that has nothing to do with Jason.
Yeah.
And it's
Well,
like,
and what
this is one franchise where, like, you could do this with Nightmare on Elm Street. I would love to see what turned Freddy into Freddy and like all the setup of that. That could be fucking cool.
I
But
don't know.
there's not much to Jason. Like, there's not.
Well, and that's the thing. Like Jason, there's not much to him, and I think the mystery of Jason is also what helps to make him scary. It's the same thing as Michael Myers. So that's why I hated Rob Zombie's Halloween so much, is because it tried to turn Michael Myers into Jason Voorhees, and like it tried to open up.
But
this
I liked
backstory.
that. I liked it because it was just doing it. Like, we already had the original Halloween. Like, we already have that. Like, this was just a different. Rob just had a different like way of doing it. So it was kind of cool to see this other universe where we do get more of a backstory with Michael Myers. Like, that's why I was cool with that, because it was a reboot. I have this thing where if you're doing a reboot, I am fine with you taking it in whatever direction you want to go. But if you do a prequel, then it's different, because you're like trying to rewrite history. You know, like,
right.
If Rob Zombie were to have made his Halloween, right, but it was not in a separate universe and not a total reboot, I would have had more issue with it. But because it was a total reboot, it's like, that's not the same Michael Myers as the original Halloween. Like, you know, he literally created his own Michael Myers, his own backstory, and
But it's enough of Michael Myers. It's got the iconic.
I'm not saying you had to like it. I'm just saying I'm more okay with that. Like, to me, I at least understand the reasoning and whatnot behind that.
So my issue, and this is like a growing issue for me with these sequels and prequels, or not sequels, these prequels and these midquels that Alien Romulus is now.
They're called requels.
Requel?
Yeah, it's called a requel.
A movie that takes place between the first and second movie. It's called a requel.
Yeah, it's a requel because it's a reboot and a sequel.
But it's not a sequel. It takes place between. Oh, okay. I mean, I guess
it's
whatever.
Doing a sequel type of thing. It is a sequel. It's not rebooting the franchise. It's not redoing the first movie. Like Alien Romulus we'll use as an example. It wasn't recreating the first Alien, but it still is a soft reboot. It's trying to bring the franchise forward to now with some new characters, breathing new life into the IP so that we can have more movies going forward. And so it's not trying to rewrite history. It's not trying to say that those movies didn't exist, but it's also not being the most original thing in the world, because in a lot of ways it's catching everybody up to speed. It's bringing the younger people into this world. And so I get I definitely understand anybody who had issues with Romulus being like, you know, it wasn't the most original thing in the world. Like, it was redoing a lot of the same things we've seen through the franchise. Like, I get that, but I don't know what you expect going in. It's a requel.
Original stories, good writing.
But it's a requel.
Characters that aren't fucking retarded. Like,
but
these characters are some of the stupidest.
Hold on. You're going down in a totally different. Like,
I'm sorry,
we're not talking about the
you are
all your
triggering
problems
me
with the movie.
I am getting triggered.
We're just talking about, then I should have used Scream as an example, because we're still talking about this requel thing. But like, because a requel isn't the most original thing in the world. That's not what they're doing. They do they take a lot of the things from the franchise. They're kind of rebooting. That's why they're called a requel, because they're a soft reboot. They're not fully rebooting to where they're saying that those original movies didn't exist. They're not just remaking the original, but they're also not doing a completely brand new, you know, thing either. Like, they're doing a little of, doing a little of both.
So here's my problem with it. I know that's what that's supposed to be, but these requels that you're calling them,
what's Halloween's fault? Halloween 2018 started it, and it is still probably the one that did it the best.
So what?
It was like the one that did it first, and also probably the best.
My biggest issue is that these movies all have meta knowledge of the other properties, and they expect the audience to also have that meta knowledge when making their movie. And if you don't, it's going to seem weird when you watch that movie in between the two movies that it's supposed to like be referencing. So it's like the creators have this meta knowledge.
Well, that's the thing. It's a little of both. Like but
you can't
is
do that.
somewhat standalone. Like you could watch Romulus by itself and have not seen any other Alien movie and still be just fine with it. There was nothing you had to know. There was not a single thing in Romulus did you have to know from the other movies.
Right. Exactly.
It simply added to it. Like if you did, then there's characters and things that, it adds to, but you didn't have to know any of that.
Right. You didn't have to, but if you were to watch these in sequential order, if you were to, we're talking about, this is just going to be the Alien show. If you were to watch Alien Romulus, and then Aliens, it looks like Aliens rips off Alien Romulus. With all of the repurposed lines that Alien Romulus took, the characters that they ripped off and recreated, everything is agency is taken away from.
Not Aliens.
Aliens.
No.
The final line that, not the final line, but that classic line that Andy said,
your hands off her, you bitch,
completely rips that away from Ripley.
But
it's fucking shameless.
I have issues with Romulus. Like in my review, I said, like, it's not a perfect movie. Like I'd probably give it like 4 out of 5 or 8 out of 10, something like that. Like I think it's a fantastic movie,
because it
has issues.
Just because it looks good, is that why?
This is where I take major gripes with you, sir. Is why don't you just why do you watch movies? Why don't you just read books?
Because I love them.
But I love movies. It's a visual entity. It's about the visuals of it. That's why it's a movie and not a book.
But it's visual storytelling. There's both.
Yes. And so there's way more. There's way more to a movie than just the story. Like there's visual storytelling. And like,
so I'm going to liken this to the film business. Okay.
So the visuals are a huge amount. Like I'd say 70% of what makes a movie is the visuals.
50%.
No.
Yes.
No.
How many Paranormal Activity?
Not a movie like this.
Paranormal Activity.
If you take
Blair Witch.
Those are movies that are more about the story than the visuals.
Right. So that's what carries those movies.
But a movie like this is
about the
70 and even the first Aliens, both those movies are much more about the visuals than they are about the story.
Right.
And I was thinking about this earlier. I've been thinking about this. I hear all these people, including you, talking shit about the story of Alien Romulus, and I'm like, dude, I feel like there's a little bit of revisiting this history. I'm not saying with you per se, but just in general with people, right? What is so great about the story of the first Alien, or the story of The Thing? Or a bunch of, or Jaws, a ton of other amazing, iconic movies. But if you were to just look at the basic story, you're like, there's not a lot to it.
Yes, there is. And I'll tell you right now, the reason why these stories are so good is because these are relatable characters. These are blue collar workers, and all the ones that you're talking about, none of these are specialists except for maybe like 1 or 2 people that are like supposed to be these like paragons of the film. But and this is also what makes Ghostbusters so great, is that these are blue collar, normal people that are dealing with extreme situations. So what was so great about the story of Alien?
So how is Romulus any different?
Romulus is different because these
literally
characters in Romulus are all idiots. They're all dumb. They make stupid decisions so that they can push the plot forward.
Unexperienced kids.
And they're idiots.
Inexperienced young people that are desperate and trying to make a better life. Like they remind me a lot of like young people that flee other countries and try to come in here as immigrants and stuff.
Yeah, and I would argue
that's what I really liked about this movie.
I would
because they
argue that
did
young
make
people,
mistakes. They made a lot of mistakes.
they made stupid mistakes that just
But
basic
dude,
thinking would
dude,
not
are
allow
you
you to do that.
forgetting? Are you forgetting? Are you forgetting these other movies? That's what I mean by revisionist
No, I'm
history.
not.
As much
Because
as
they
I
go
love, okay,
over.
I just watched Nightmare on Elm Street, right? The OG.
Yeah.
And dude, we all love this movie. We all adore it. But if you watch it with a critical lens, there are so many problems with that movie. So many, what you just said, stupid mistakes, so many things that don't make sense, so many really bad lines, bad performances from characters. Like, there's so many things that you could pick apart, but it doesn't change that it's an iconic, amazing, awesome movie. Because if you go into a movie to enjoy it and be entertained, you will. If you go into a movie to pick it apart and find flaws, you will. I could do both. Like, I can look at Romulus objectively and be like, dude, like the CGI, the main CGI callback, character is awful. Like, it looks bad.
It's offensively bad.
It's bad. But that didn't change me thinking it's still an awesome movie. That line, get your hands off her, you bitch. That was horrible. That was so stupid. I literally actually cringed. Like, my body cringed when he said that. Like,
I cringed at all of them.
There's plenty.
And Andy is the best character in that movie.
Dude, he's fantastic. Well, yeah, I don't know. I think everybody's saying that, and I agree he was great. But I think that our what's her name? What's the actress's name? Yeah. I think her character, and I think she was great too. Like, my only problem with the characters, and I said this, is that I wish we had a little more depth in the other characters. Like, I felt like we had enough with Andy and Rain. I felt like we got enough about them and from them to feel like they were real characters to care, right? But the other characters I felt like were way too tertiary, and we didn't get enough substance on them at all. And so when they're getting picked off one by one, you're like, yeah, I don't really care. But at the same time, dude, we don't know jack shit about any of the characters in the first Alien. So that's why I think it's the kind of weird revisionist history where we think we do, but if you rewatch it, like I just rewatched Terminator, same thing. Like, there's all these classics, these great movies that I'm not arguing are classics and are great, but we kind of forget that they're not perfect movies either.
They're not perfect, but they're at least coherent. The characters
this
that are
movie
that
is,
are
man.
No, it's not. This movie is completely off the rails. The decision that the
dude,
decision the characters make.
I've watched it 4 times now. Like,
fine,
dude.
We'll go scene by scene. We will go scene by scene, and I will point out. And these are mistakes, and these are issues.
Okay, so stop. Hold on, pause real quick. Okay, everybody out there, if you have not seen Alien Romulus, there is a good chance we're going to spoil it. We will do a section in a little bit we're like warning this is spoiler from here on. But even before then, it's possible it could get spoiled some. So if you haven't seen it, just be warned.
I kept hitting the wrong.
Before we dig into that too deep, let's watch the trailer for what do we have? Let's watch for Azrael, because I'm excited about this movie.
You got me all prepped, and now you're gonna. All right, hang on.
Well, because then we'll get into spoilers.
Okay.
This gives anybody that is like tuned in, it gives them a little longer with us before, if they haven't seen the movie, they should bail. Also, if you're wanting to go see a movie this week, there's a bunch of new ones. We have The Crow. We have Blink Twice. We have Stream. But the movie, I already reviewed it last week, but the movie you need to go see is Strange Darling.
Okay.
I think it's my number 1 of the year. It's phenomenal. It is a movie that I will be shocked if you don't like. Cool. It's the first one that I think is truly original, and the performances are incredible. It's a small movie, a real simple concept, but the way it's directed, the way it's written, it's super masterfully put together. Like it's not a super complex story, but the way it's put together, it feels complex and like there's a lot of layers to it. I think it's, like to me right now, I think it's probably my number one.
I gotta see if it's playing in a theater near me, but I gotta see The Crow this weekend.
Yeah, it opened nationwide today. I saw it last week at an early. Remember on Wednesday, I was like, I'm going to early thing, but should be national now. But there's so much that sucks. That movie's gonna get overlooked because there's like, I hate this. There's nothing coming out next week, but like fucking 5 horror-ish movies this weekend. I'm like, why do they do this?
Yeah, there's gonna be a lot of stuff to cover. Okay, so let's watch this trailer and then we can come back and finish the show out with Alien Romulus. So this is the Azrael. Oh my God, Azrael trailer.
Sucks.
What?
Yog boat.
Yeah, I know, Yog
boat.
We will get into how bad it is.
Yog ball.
We'll get into how bad it is. All right, here we go.
Yeah, little boozy vert. I had a lot of fun with stream as well. I just shot my review and I'm editing it. It should be up tomorrow.
Can you guys?
I had a lot of fun. Now I can't.
What's going on here?
You can't hear it?
No.
I can hear it.
Why am I
not
hearing it?
Playing now.
I know. Hang on. Sorry. Technical difficulties. This is the Azrael official trailer. I'm not hearing it.
Yeah, I don't know if that's how you pronounce it.
That's us.
It's like Azrael or Azrael. This has a chance. This has a chance to be one of the best of the year, I think, as well.
I cannot hear it for whatever reason. I'm sorry. I don't know what's going on.
How does that make sense that I can hear it and you can't?
I don't know.
Okay, well, pause it. And
I know. Can you share it? Can you go in and share it? I don't know what's going on here. I don't know why it's not letting me. My speakers are working. I'm sharing it from Chrome.
Where are you playing it off of?
YouTube.
Okay, hold on.
I don't know what's going on here. This isn't fair. My tab is not muted. Sorry, folks. I know you guys can hear it, but I need to hear it and I can't for whatever reason.
Yeah, no big deal. Give me a second. I just got to open up another window.
Yeah, this for whatever reason, Chrome is not playing. Oh, there we go. Wait a minute. Yeah, no. What's going on here?
And am I not spelling it right? Oh, it's A-Z, huh? Yeah, there we go.
All right, we're getting it up. Sorry, guys. This is some technical difficulties in the show. You gotta. There we go.
DJ, can you hear it?
I can hear it.
Okay. We gotta talk over it somewhat anyway. Although I haven't monetized these in like a couple months.
Yeah, it's all right.
More than anything, I like talking over because we don't want them to like take down the stream.
Right.
But I don't think they will. Because Cutter never does that to me.
Content has to be transformative. Blah blah blah.
Well, yeah, but it has more to do with who it is.
Yeah,
I know. Supportive of us. Supportive of my channel in particular, doing stuff. I have a fairly decent relationship with them. see that thing?
These like zombie demons or demon zombies.
Yeah, I don't know, but it looks fucking creepy.
Nice. Yeah, no, that looks good.
I love her as an actress too, so I'm looking forward to it. Plus, dude, it seems like the best movies on average are the ones that Shudder has been putting out.
Yeah, well, I mean, we will see. So, yeah, I mean, that looks good.
Shudder just kills it, man. Like they get all these indie movies the last couple years and putting them in theaters, and like, you know, it's crazy. These tiny little $1 million or less movies, and yet on average they're better than a lot of these big ass movies in theaters.
Yeah.
So,
all right. Well, that was a good trailer.
All right.
Let's get back to Alien Romulus.
Yeah,
so I'm going to let
you guys ready for spoiler. Put the little spoiler thing up.
All right. Yeah. So this is our
Right.
spoiler.
So if you have not seen Alien Romulus, I don't care if you stay or go, but you're not allowed to yell at us for spoiling it. We're warning you right now. We're going to talk about the movie and spoil shit.
Okay. So there's your warning. Now we're going to talk about it.
Yep.
So the movie, I will give all my positives. Okay.
Yeah.
I will do that. I will extend an olive branch to everybody who thinks that I'm full of it. I will extend an olive branch. The movie looks great. I love the callback to the original films with as far as like the technology, you know, how everything looks technologically as if the movie could have been made in the 80s. I think the cinematography is beautiful. I think the practical xenomorphs were great. I think Andy is the best character in this movie.
The creature at the end is actually practical.
I saw that they had an actor for it. Creature at the end.
I knew they had the actor because he also does the xenomorph, but like he's fucking 7'7" tall, dude. But like I didn't realize that he actually plays that ending, whatever the fuck you want to call it, the half human, half xenomorph thing.
Yeah, which that looks really dumb. And they did the black goo. Dumb.
I thought it was cool, man.
All right.
Like when I first saw it, I was like, oh, I don't know about this, but I actually started to really dig it, and I was like, because I'm all for people swinging for the fences, and like I would rather Fede go for it, even if it doesn't always work. I'd rather him go for it rather than just being all like not taking chances and like just because that's probably the thing I appreciated the most about this movie is, like I said, it's not perfect, but it felt like it didn't feel like big Hollywood. You know, it felt like he made a fucking alien movie. For better or worse, he made an alien movie. It may not be your favorite. You may not like all the choices or the story or whatever, but it was an alien movie. It didn't feel like what Disney usually puts out, or Fox, you know, with the PC everything bullshit.
Okay, so that's my positives. The movie
falls apart. Oh my god, dude, Rook. What was that? Like why?
Was awful.
Like why? Like why? Like that's my biggest frustration. Why do it? He doesn't need to be in the movie. It's not okay. You could say, oh, he did it as a callback, right? But it's not even what's his fuck. Like it's not even the same android.
Ash, right?
Yeah, Ash. It's not even Ash.
All right. So let me start, and then you're welcome to defend everything that I bring up. I'm looking forward to it. So the movie, in the opening credits, falls apart for me story wise, and
in the opening, that first cold
when they get the fossilized xenomorph.
Yeah, and I've heard a number of people being bothered by a film like this is a retcon.
It is very much a retcon because if you watch the ending of Alien, which I can pull up, I can pull up if anybody needs a reference, but that ship got nuked 3 times. Nuclear explosion that we see on screen. That ship is goo. And anything that could have survived those explosions has been jettisoned across space at speed and is not stopping. So for the Weyland-Yutani Corporation to be able to send a ship to that location and find A, pieces of the ship, and B, a fossilized xenomorph, which they want you to believe is the xenomorph from the movie because it has the harpoon in it and they show it an umpteenth amount of times for you to go, this is it, this is it, this is it. You can't do, I mean, you got to do better than that. Then, oh, it was just there. Because we also know that Weyland-Yutani did not know that xenomorphs or facehuggers or anything existed. The reason that Ash got the command from
No,
they didn't know. Aliens when
Alien Covenant.
Ripley, I'm not talking about Alien Covenant. I'm talking about Alien and Aliens because this movie takes place.
Yeah, but Covenant.
Aliens, anything after Aliens.
This is trying to
connect
the two. This is trying to connect. No, because those are prequels. Covenant's a prequel. Prometheus is a prequel.
Okay, so then and Prometheus has problems because of that. Because in Aliens,
I'm not arguing that. I'm just saying, like, that's why he did this. He's trying to bridge the gap. So is there some revisionist shit? A little bit, I get it, but he's trying to bridge the gap. He's trying to connect all of the Alien franchise movies. So and it's messy. It's a messy franchise.
Don't do that.
To do that, you're gonna. I know. I agree, but I think so this is the biggest thing I'm picking up on, right? Like I have the same so far. I have basically all the same problems you have for the most part with this movie. The difference is I can still enjoy it and still think it's a really good fucking movie and have a great time with it.
Good, dude. I'm so happy that you can do that.
No, I don't mean it that way. I just don't get why you can't, like, why these things are.
That's what takes me out of it. If you make such egregious mistakes like this, that's what takes me out of my enjoyment because those are easily fixed. Those are story elements that are easily fixed if you just take more than 5 minutes to think about it. Like, should we show wreckage from a ship that got nuked, that got blown up by 3 nuclear explosions? No, come on, think about it. Let's think about it. And then so then the alien that gets jettisoned from Ripley's ship after a harpoon pierced it is also flying through space at the speed at which it got jettisoned from that ship. There is no way you're finding that thing. There's no way. So to do that as well makes you, I mean, you have to suspend your disbelief so much that it becomes
they don't
hard.
Explain how they found it. We just simply see that they did find it, right?
Right. And so if you're not going to explain it, if
so,
you're just
I mean, for all we know,
feed this to the audience and you're going to say, accept this.
For all we know, there could have been some other space, explorers out there and came across that shit and contacted Weyland-Yutani or like, hey, you want this?
The vastness of space suggests that is a statistical
in this universe, because they're all out, like they're out there, there's pirates. They're like, God knows what all is going on in space at this point. We've never really dug that deep into. I mean, we know there's like a prison colony, like there's all these colonies. So what makes you think there's not like? I'm
going to tell you.
All kinds of ships running around. They could easily come across wreckage and shit.
I'm going to tell you and Leon why it doesn't matter. They spent 20 years looking for it because they showed wreckage of the Nostromo and the fossil was still there. So it couldn't have been that somebody
But it wasn't the whole ship, dude.
Look,
it's just a part. But it's not the whole ship. It's just part of it.
It's a lot. It's a lot of the same wreckage.
Yeah, but haven't you ever seen like if you were to take it for an example, like we can't do a space thing, right? Because we don't have war in space in reality, but we have war in the ocean in reality. And if you ever see torpedoed ships or fucking nuke ships or whatever, any ships, when they're destroyed, there's massive parts of them that still remain, and people find it all the time. Treasure hunters find big old chunks of ships that look perfect, even though the rest of it
Kanan.
literally got blown apart.
Kanan, those ships were not nuked 3 times. That's if you until you can
I just don't
reconcile
think
that.
this is that big of a hole.
Yes, it is. It is that big.
I just think it's a choice. I think it's a choice, and I think I agree with you. Here's an olive branch, right? I'll agree with you that there could have been a better way to set this up.
Yes. Okay. Thank you.
But I still
Moving
don't
on.
think I don't think it's that egregious.
Moving on. Now we get to Rain and Andy's sunless planet. That is this like slave planet.
I loved the planet, dude.
Okay, fine. That's okay. I'm not
like the planet?
No. The planet's fine. I'm not going to complain about that. The planet's fine. The planet is fine. However,
I just wish we had more time on it. Like, I'd love to.
I would like to.
Alien, and that's why part of why I like this movie, and I'm hoping it does well, and it has done well, is I want to see more Alien Universe movies. Like, I want to see something on Earth. I want to see, and that's why I'm looking forward to the series. I'm hoping that, the series is more of that. Because, dude, we've already seen the Xenomorphs. We've already seen, battles in space with the Xenomorph. Let's expand. If we're going to keep doing Alien movies, which I'm not saying we have to, but if we are, then let's see new shit. And that's where I have Alvarez's back, because Fetty could, he can only work with what he's got, and he can only do so much with it. I want to see him get a chance to make another one and do some original new stuff with it.
Okay. So we get to the planet.
That's the problem with a requel, is you are limited on how much new stuff you can bring.
So we get to the planet, and Rain has just completed 6 years of random labor service, right? We don't know what she did. She obviously wasn't in the mine.
Yeah.
Because that's what she got assigned to. So she gets she gets to go home. Her and her brother, Andy, get to go home. And she goes up to this window and she's like, I've done 6 years. Home. Well, she gets to leave. She gets to petition to leave the planet. To go
go to a new colony.
To go to a new planet, whatever. So she gets to, that's the point. She gets to leave.
Yeah.
So she's like, hey, I did it. I got my time. Here it is. I'd like to get out of here. And the lady's just like, due to a labor shortage, you have to be here for 6 more years.
5.
Fuck
but
you, bye.
Yeah.
And Rain just accepts it.
She doesn't have a choice.
And but we can assume that she's not the only person this has happened to, right?
No,
like,
it's kind of like a mining planet. It's like a lot of,
where's the
a lot of these.
Well, where's the rioting? Where are the guards? If there are no riots happening, if people have to just accept 6 whole fucking years, where are the guards that are guarding all these places and making sure that people don't get out of line? We don't see that anywhere. We see Andy get the shit kicked out of him by a bunch of kids, and nobody intervenes until Rain comes.
But this wasn't like you're a prisoner. They're not prisoners. They just
so if they're employees,
in order to get on a ship, in order for Weyland-Yutani to send you to a new place, like rent free, so to speak, like get on one of their ships and send you somewhere, you have to get a certain amount of credits to earn your spot on a ship to go somewhere else, right? That's what it is. So like, she's not a prisoner. She's not a prisoner. It's why she was able to get on the ship with all the other young people and take off. Like there's no guards because they're not prisoners.
So then why? Okay, so then why aren't people commandeering ships and leaving?
They are. That's what her and the young people do.
If this has happened to thousands of other people, where are the revolts? Where are the riots? Where are the people commandeering the ships, killing the window lady, and taking off and leaving? Like, what's in it for them if everybody's dying from new disease every year?
That is a direction I could see it going. Like, I mean, that we've seen this in a lot of apocalyptic, like post-apocalyptic type of, dystopian movies. Like we've seen this. We've seen that play out in a lot of movies. Like we know this from other stuff with Weyland-Yutani is they're fucking, they're running like a dystopian, like a what do you call it? You know what I mean? Like they're running this type of organization.
But these are
like it's kind of like workers we see right now that work for Amazon. They hold all the cards. Amazon changes the rules all the time, and
but they're still
gonna keep working and just deal with it, or you're fucked.
No, but they're still getting paid, and you can still, as hard as it
But
is, you can
down
still
the road,
quit and get another job. You're not locked in the warehouse, unable to leave.
we're not thousands of years from now in the future
I
in a different
understand, Kanan, I
reality where
understand.
there's giant aliens running around.
I understand. I'm just saying these are story elements that the movie is introducing, and they're not reconciling these.
I thought that was a really great setup, like, because it was simple to
So-
the point of it gave them a good reasoning to be getting off this. All they needed was to give them a good reason that makes sense to get off this planet. And I thought that was a great setup to get them off this planet.
Okay.
Like, she's got no parents anymore. She's got nothing tying her there anymore. Like, why the fuck not?
I mean, I guess, but what was she going to do? She just accepted it until what's his name came right after, like conveniently right after, and said, "Hey, we got a plan. Come meet us." What was she going to do? She was just going to go work.
Yeah.
Well, I would like to have seen
because
that.
The way it seems like the whole like everything is hitting that critical mass point. Like that's the feeling I get from that planet, is that everything it's like a pressure cooker. You know, people are dying like crazy. Like, it's getting worse and worse. Like, Wayne-Utani is being more and more like dictators, you know, and so like everybody in this situation is desperate, and because what they do is dangerous as hell and illegal as hell. Like, you know,
we don't know if it's illegal.
Yeah, it is.
We don't know what the laws are on this planet.
No,
we don't know.
He says it.
Who says
they
it?
say it? They say it in the movie. She says it, and then basically they just kind of poo-poo it off, like, nobody's gonna, you know, it's a derelict ship, nobody's gonna catch us. But then when they start to approach it, they realize it's not even a derelict ship. Like, it's just
right. And I'm gonna get into the problems with that. So we
more
get to
of an illegal kind of situation.
So we get to the ship, and the plan is their Asian pilot, I forget their name, has been tracking this decommissioned Weyland-Yutani ship, and they're going to go sneak onto it and find things to pilfer, and maybe there might be some cryo tubes that they can all stay in to get to a different planet. Okay, and that's the plan.
Yeah,
they just need Andy, because Andy can
told her what it was. In reality, they didn't know that much of what it actually was.
Navarro, thank you, Boozy. Navarro.
Yeah. Like, that's the thing about the movie, and when you rewatch it, is like they just tell her that, like everything they tell her is very matter of fact, because they're just trying to convince her to go along. But then when you get there, you realize it's not what they said. It's because they didn't know what it really was. They just knew they're desperate, and it's some kind of Weyland-Yutani ship-ish type of thing.
I understand. So Rain agrees. So they need Rain, and they really don't need Rain. They need Andy, because Andy can speak mother, because he's a synthetic. Yeah. And so they want to bring Andy and Rain along so that they can access this ship. Okay, fine. So they then take off into the atmosphere. No checks from like air traffic control from Weyland-Yutani or whatever saying this is the whatever ship we're going. Like, they're just allowed to leave. So that also is what then makes me question earlier in the movie, like, if these kids,
they're not allowed to leave. They also aren't even supposed to be.
Who's stopping them? If they're not allowed to leave, if they're not allowed to take off, if they're not allowed to do this, if they're doing it illegally, where are the people tracking the leaving of this ship? Because they just fucking leave. Where are they, and why aren't they trying to bring them back?
That's his dad's ship. They basically just steal his ship.
Fine. But if
I don't think in the way it's set up, I don't think in the way that it's shown anyway, like, they don't explain all this, but in the way it's shown, it seems more like flying around in little hopper ships, like what they have, is equivalent to a car. Because that's not the kind of ship that can get to another colony. It's not can do interstellar travel. This is literally just like a little hopper kind of ship for mining and things like that.
Okay, well, if that's the case, then why can't it breach the atmosphere and go around? And then if there's a bunch of ships like that, where are all the other ones that are circling this planet in the same altitude?
We saw them where she goes. It's like a whole bunch of them, like a bunch of ships all over the place in there.
I didn't see.
That's why I said it's almost like a car or a boat. It seemed like a boat is, I think, a better way of explaining it. It's like a little. It's not a ship. It's like a boat. Like what they use, it's kind of more like a boat, not a ship.
Well, I didn't see any in the scenes where they are.
Yeah, like the docking bay where they're at. You can see them off in the distance, like where it's at. It's basically dock at a, like, for lack of a better word, it looks like a harbor.
No, I understand. I understand where that is. I'm talking about in space when they breached the crush or whatever they said.
Well, why would you see a bunch of other ones in space?
That's what I'm talking about. The reason you don't see it is like this isn't because they're just right outside Canaan. Okay, all right. They get through the atmosphere and they're in the planets. They're in space right above the planet. You can see the rings. You can see the space station that Navarro was tracking. You can see that. They're just there. Nobody notices that they're gone. They're just allowed to leave, right? And I think that's a problem because you set up this planet to be this Weyland-Yutani controlled planet. You would think that Weyland-Yutani would
monitor anything coming in and out.
That is coming in and out.
Yeah,
you don't see them try to lie to get their way into it.
Like, that's like a tiny nitpick.
It's like, not a tiny nitpick. That is completely a valid criticism because of the type you're setting up the rules. You're setting up what we're supposed to believe about this, and then you're breaking those right away. That's not a nitpick. Okay. So then now we get to the space station.
They're setting that up. Like I said, there's not guards everywhere. They're not prisoners. So they're not setting it up to be like, this is something where Weyland-Yutani controls every single thing. It's set
obviously
up
it is.
Like I said, planet. No, it's more like I said, it's set up to be like an Amazon, like a much more powerful Amazon where everybody has no choice. You either work for Amazon or you're poor as shit and you can't ever go anywhere, because obviously it's not that hard to leave the planet and like do little jumps. But if you want to get to another colony that's like deep space, you don't have another choice than to basically get Weyland-Yutani will send you, but you got to do a certain amount of work for a certain amount of time to get transport to another colony.
So if that's true, what ship were they going to use to make their 9-year journey? They weren't going to fly the space station. They were going to bring those cryotubes onto their ship.
Yeah, because they do explain that. They do explain that. Like the reason they can't do it is because they don't have the resources, and you need to have the cryotubes. So like that ship can make it, but you got to be able to cryo sleep for 9 years. So that's why you need Weyland-Yutani, is for the technology to cryo sleep, because it's a 9-year journey. That right there, you answer your own question. I forgot about that.
Okay, so
they do
get it. So they don't. But
so
we're going to get into it.
Is that they just isn't anyone chasing them, or like they don't have to talk to, but that also could be a scene that was cut from the movie too, of like, it's not, we don't need to have a whole scene of her corresponding with, could just, there's certain leaps sometimes of the movie you just got to take, like, we weren't watching the pilot for the whole taking off. We were following Rain. So for all we know, she was corresponding with the airport or whatever they call it. You know what I mean?
I just don't know why, if they monitored where they were going and saw that they were going towards this decommissioned ship, which we're going to get into this space station on why Weyland-Yutani would not want to
go up in there doesn't mean they would be going there.
Right, but you can track the ship. So let's say they do have that scene where they're like, permission for takeoff, blah, 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 we're fucking out of here. And they're like, why? And they say, because reasons. And then they're like, okay, whatever. And then they leave. They're still going to watch the ship and where it's going. And if they're going to this decommissioned, quote unquote, space station
Well, I
that is
forget what they
orbiting the planet.
say. I forget what they say the ship is for, but it's his dad's. It's his dad's like work. I I think he says something about like a cargo ship type of thing
Okay. What I'm
that
trying to
they
say,
jack. So what I'm saying is, so he could simply be like I think I'm trying to remember because I feel like there was a part where he says something to the effect of that it's his dad's car, the British dude.
oh yeah,
And
the
so
one
if
you can't
that's
understand.
yeah, and so if that's the case, then maybe they simply are just like they're gonna let him take off because this is a cargo. Like they don't need to explain a whole lot because it's like this is a little jumper or cargo ship that goes back and forth from point A to point B all the time. Because now
So,
that I think there was something to that effect that he says,
so
not in length, not in depth, but like I think there was something.
okay, so this then breaks down when they get to the space station because there is an event that happened on that space station that you would assume Weyland Yutani would have some interest in. They wouldn't have
Yeah.
just seen what happened on this space station and went, fuck it.
Yeah.
Right?
No, I do
You can at least
100%
agree with
agree.
that.
I
Okay,
do agree,
so
especially when you're talking about where they set it up in the beginning, where they go spend 20 years looking for this piece of the Nostromo and find the xenomorph, right? But then there's this derelict ship thing that's got
space station,
xenomorph
an entire
everywhere
space
on it.
station.
Yeah, that's full of xenomorphs. Like I
And
agree.
space
And it's
huggers
right outside of one of their yeah, I agree.
and technology for this
100%
conspiracy that
agree with
apparently
that. And I felt very much like I don't get it. I don't know why. Like we don't get more explanation. Like this makes no sense unless it's well. Okay, so this is my only thing because because there is Rook on there and it is like a science station kind of thing, and
so
he
then
was
why
acting like they were still working on the experiment.
no, he wasn't. He was dead.
Well, I know, but
We
he
don't and we
was
don't know how
under
long
the
for.
no, because he was still under the impression that they were still working on it. He didn't know they had failed their mission, which, like, I'm having to take a leap to get here. You know, like I agree, they didn't explain nearly enough with this, but like maybe it's something that effective. It happened so fast, no one was able to radio anybody. And
I just
so
find
Weyland Yutani doesn't know where it is.
I
But the
find that
ship
very
doesn't
they
look
do know
that
where it is. It's
damaged.
orbiting a planet. It's orbiting a planet that they own. It's a space station that they own with
And it doesn't look
proprietary
that
technology.
damaged.
Fine, but so then why did
No,
it
I'm
just
saying
shut
you're right.
down?
You're right. It doesn't look that damaged either. It doesn't look because like did they even explain what happened to it? Why it's derelict?
No,
Just
we
the
just
xenomorphs
assume that
got
it's because
loose?
we assume it's because the xenomorph got loose. They were working on face huggers. Something. I mean, you can see the entire nest in the
Yeah.
movie, and Bishop or Rook is still there, and he just decides to play dead until we need a jump scare, and then we just get exposition dump after exposition dump from him, and this whole time that he's alive, that the equipment is working, not once does he contact Weyland Yutani that we know of to report what happened. It's just Weyland Yutani just decided that this was not worth it. And that's according to the lore that we see in Alien and Aliens, that is not something Weyland Yutani does. So,
Well, and
if
even
this
that they
was
set
such
up
an
in
important,
this movie, like the lengths they went to get the one xenomorph in the very beginning.
what? Okay, so all right, so
like if they go through
I
all
want to
those
get back.
links for that, I agree. I do think this is a flaw in the way it's written. It's
So I
too
want to.
convenient. It's too convenient
It's very convenient. So
and
they
not
do it.
explained enough. I agree.
So they dock on this. They dock on the Romulus and Remus space station, and all Andy has to do is stick his finger in the door, and they get in. A decommissioned old model synthetic just has access to this space station. Now,
Well, because he
you
speaks
can,
mother.
huh?
Because he can speak with that's why they took him, because he speaks mother. He speaks the code, or the program. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So his
but
finger going in there is him
okay.
communicating with the software.
I understand, but don't you think it would, because we don't know, right? We don't know what version of Andy he is. We don't know we just know that
He's an old
scrapped.
decommissioned, yeah.
He was right.
But
He was
that's why it
salvaged. So if
updates
you're going
him.
to decommission something, you're going to take away its rights to access
But
security.
that's why they had to update him, remember?
But
He
they
was
updated
only
him
able to
inside.
no, he was
Once
no,
they
no, no.
got
He was
inside.
only able to act. Yeah, he was only able to access the most basic entryway. But then as soon as they needed to get into anywhere that was more secure, he didn't have authorization. So like he had to update.
It just seems like they're working on experimentation of alien DNA. That seems like and you can argue if you want to, that seems like something that should be highly classified.
But it was, remember, that's why I said he had to connect with Rook and take Rook's little chip to get access to it. When they get locked in that one bay, it's because he doesn't have authorization, because it's too secured, like a higher level of security.
I understand.
And then for the rest of the movie, he's able to access stuff because he got updated from Rook.
It seems to me that a corporation like Weyland-Yutani, after decommissioning a synthetic, would take away any of its security rights, whether it can speak mother or not. It seems to me that this space station would read Andy's signature or whatever and go, no, you are old, decommissioned. You're not property of Weyland-Yutani anymore. You're not allowed to access Weyland-Yutani facilities. It just seems that way to me. But
her dad did reprogram it, so we don't know what all he was able to do to it.
As far as we know, the reprogramming was just giving him the prime directive of protect Rain and tell a bunch of unfunny, cringy dad jokes. That's what we're told was how the dad reprogrammed him. We weren't told.
He fixed it. He fixed it. He found it at a scrapyard.
Right. I understand, but we're not shown that he also embedded it with updated security codes, which also, why would Rain's dad know that? We're not shown any of this.
But I don't think he had any security codes. He was just literally able to get into the ship, the most basic entry. And then as soon as they came up on anything that was more secure, he couldn't get in. So I actually like that they included that, because
show me them hacking into the door.
If he had have been able to access everything the whole time, then I agree. But the fact that he was almost pretty quickly on, when they were aboard, all of a sudden he was screwed when he tried to access anything.
Right.
And he had to get that's why Rook was crucial to part of the story, was they had to, I just don't know why they had to have that character, especially when it's not even the same android. I just don't get it.
Yeah, we're gonna get to that.
The guy is dead. He's a legend.
It was egregious. We're gonna get to that.
I just want really bad fucking face. Yeah.
I want to say to Ray, this is live. So don't worry, guys. We are not ignoring your chats. I see them.
I don't think this is live.
We just can't
live.
I cannot address Kanan and the rest of you. But I see everybody. I see everybody commenting.
I'm blind, so I have to. That's why I have to lean forward like this to read what's on the computer.
I see everybody commenting. Laura doesn't think that I've watched this movie. I have, Laura, and I've taken extensive notes.
SIM card.
So, yes. Once they get in, and even then, he
only accesses one thing, and that is to just get into the ship, which I think is believable, because any visitor or anybody coming from the outside in, right? The most basic entryway, for bringing cargo or whatever, the most basic access, I think.
You would think they would need updated codes, though.
I don't think so. Not for that.
Well, for instance, so here,
Like
so for
beyond
example,
that, I agree.
no,
Like I said, if the whole movie he had just been running around opening everything, I would agree. But
right.
because they do have to update his software to get into things, I think answers that for the most
Right,
part.
but they do update it. They do give him Rook's SIM card, as they said, and he still can't access certain areas. So, and here's an example in Star Wars, right? In Empire Strikes Back, when they are in the shuttle trying to gain access to it's either the Death Star or another ship. I'm sorry, just I please roast me in the comments. But when they're trying to access, they give a security code, and the guy on the bridge is like, it's an older code, but it checks out. Should we let him in? They don't even do that here. You would that would be something easy enough to do, where it's like Andy sticks his finger in the hole and the ship is like, something's going on here. And then maybe one of the crew members go in and type something in as like a special passcode or something that they were able to hack into and override, or just be like, yeah, you should accept this code. You know what I mean? Like, that's a simple way to do it, other than just, yeah, Andy can get in.
But they did need to bring the fact that they had to bring an android because they said it spoke mother. Like, to me, they're addressing that by just, to get into the ship in the first place, they needed that. But then later on, to get in anything of any security clearance areas, they had to update him with Rook's SIM card. So, like, I feel like they did check those boxes
eventually. So they get in, they're in, and we get the gravity purge.
Yeah, that was cool.
Conflict.
Dude, that was sick. Especially how it's used at the end of the movie.
No, that's the only reason they put that in, is so that they could have that stupid fucking scene.
Yeah, it was cool.
There is no reason to have a gravity purge so that the decommissioned space station that nobody cares about doesn't explode. And the only time we get this gravity purge,
actually a real thing.
The only time that we get this gravity purge is when the script needs it to happen. There are entire segments of this movie where the gravity purge does not happen until they just need something to happen. And they're like, oh, we'll just have the gravity purge.
Yeah, it didn't need to gravity purge once they had turned it back on. Once they fire the rest of the ship back up, it doesn't need a gravity purge. The gravity purge is only when it's sitting there dormant. It's a compression purge is what it is.
But
like, that's a real thing. Like, artificial gravity isn't really a real thing yet, but like the idea they're using is like an oxygen purge, like a climate purge, so to speak. So it's like, you got to let out a certain amount of CO2. You got to let out a certain amount of whatever, because too much of any gases will cause expansion and things like that, right? So they're taking, I think it was a really creative, cool idea, because it doesn't exist. We don't have in reality, we don't have anything yet that can create artificial gravity. But if we were to come up with a way, it's going to need some form of compounds and gases to do it, right? Like chemicals and whatever. So there would need to be a purge of some kind in that scenario, because like anything, right? If you have too much CO2 buildup or too much, you know what I mean? Like any buildup, you're going to need to purge that off to keep things from expanding and, and rupturing or hurting the ship, whatever. And so as it's just sitting there dormant, it has to purge off that. But once they turn on the ship, it doesn't need to purge like that because it's constantly circulating. When it happens, because it happens at the end when it all turns off. Remember, so then why everything goes out again?
Why doesn't any other ship need to have this purge except this one in this movie?
What do you mean?
Why are there no gravity purges that need to happen to ships and stations that have artificial gravity in any other alien movie where the same thing happens?
Because they're running.
What?
We haven't seen any of the other movies where a ship was dormant.
Yes, we did.
When it's running, it's like
alien.
It's like running an AC, right? When it's running, hot air, cold air, there's a circulation going. Air's coming in, air's going out. It's circulating, right? That's what this is. When it's running, it's doing that. When it's not, certain amount of these gases build up. So you got to release those gases. And that's what it's doing with the way that they're showing it. It should make sense. It makes sense because if they had been doing it through the whole movie, it wouldn't have made sense. But the fact that they only did it when the ship was dormant, when power was turned off, I thought that was a cool idea.
It's a dumb plot device that is only used to serve that scene.
It is a plot device, but I thought it was a cool one. Everything's a plot device.
It's a dumb plot device that's used in order to get that that scene with the. But
it was worth it because that scene was sick.
It's not worth it because that scene also has problems.
Because how else do you explain a way around the acid from, how do you kill a bunch of xenomorphs when their acid burns everything?
Not by turning off the gravity so that when the pressure of a bullet hits them, it sprays the blood all over the place. And now instead of it going down in one direction, you have it going in all of the directions, burning holes
then it's just
all
floating.
of the hole.
But it's not, because it won't touch the walls.
It will. If you have something, float. Even if you're in zero gravity, if you have something like that and you have something that's going to explode blood, it's not just going to, the force of the thing that's hitting the object is going to explode.
In reality, without gravity, it won't have anything to stop it from moving. So it'll just continue to go out in a direction until it hits something.
Right.
So you're right. You're right.
So again,
it's still fun.
Dumb plot device that could have easily been you take 5 seconds to just think about what you're doing, and you could have.
You just don't like to have fun.
I do like to have fun, Kanan, but when you have stupid, idiotic plot
really,
like this,
tell me the last movie this year you had fun with.
I don't know.
I have fun every week with all these movies.
I'm so happy for you. I am so happy for you, and I guess there's a part of me that's envious. But I have seen movies
just more entertaining to be entertained.
They can be but you can be entertaining and not be fucking stupid.
But that's what you're talking about, is what separates a movie from being a good time and having an entertaining to being a work of art, to being a masterpiece, to being an all-time great. You're sitting here comparing and Aliens to Alien Romulus. Like, think about what you're saying, dude.
I'm not saying every single movie that dude, I'm not saying
sci-fi horror movies ever made.
I'm not saying that every single movie needs to be fucking Oscar worthy. I'm not saying that. What I am saying is have competent writing. Just have writing that makes sense. A plus B should equal C.
Listen, if you go through it and all these things you're mentioning, these are all nitpicks. If you were to not all of these, now you're talking about one of the greatest sci-fi horror movies ever made. Like, it doesn't work that way. That's why we don't.
These are not nitpicks. These
we get them like one every. If we're lucky, we get a great movie one every 10 years, like on that level. It's like, well, of course, every movie can't be Hereditary. Of course, every movie can't be When Evil Lurks. Of course, every movie can't be Alien or Aliens. We think about how many years it's been since Alien came out, and yet we haven't gotten anything.
Yeah, but
that's
Aliens
done it better.
Why? If Alien can do it,
because it's that hard to do. Because it's that hard to do.
I think if you take time and if you care and if you have passion and if you have drive and creativity, you can do that.
Dude,
you spend more than 5 minutes on your script.
You just made a movie. You know how many people you need it to all. Like, you could have been the greatest filmmaker of all time. But if you only have limited budget and limited people you're working with, your movie's only going to be so good.
No, I reject that.
No, it's true.
I have
you
seen.
Can only go as far as your actors will take you. You can only.
I have seen
as your cinematographer can take you.
Good scripts will elevate actors. Good scripts will elevate cinematography. I don't care. Give me something that's shot on a Sony Handycam with an airtight script, and I'll love the shit out of that movie. And I have seen Galaxy Fair.
Could it have been a better movie with a better script? Yeah.
Okay,
I don't
that's
think
all I'm
anybody's
saying.
arguing that.
That's all I'm saying.
But
That's all
there's
I'm
still
saying.
a lot of fun, and everybody's had a great time with it. And they're like, it's a great movie. It doesn't mean it's an all-timer. That's why I talk about all the
Okay.
time. Is a movie a
We're gonna-
game changer? You know, like
We're
I
gonna
say
keep
that
going.
all the time. Is it a game changer? No. But is it a good movie? Yes.
Wait, what time?
Like
Sorry,
an 8 out of 10 is a good movie. That's not a great movie.
movie is
You know,
2
a
out of
9 and
100.
9.5, a 10, that's a great movie. Yeah, what time is it?
Yeah, you have a movie to get to. We still have plenty of
it's
Alien to talk about. There are several issues. That this movie.
Okay, so get to your biggest ones. We can't go through the whole movie scene by scene.
Okay, fine. My biggest issues. All right, so my biggest issues are the repurposing of lines and script and plot devices from the other two movies to serve this movie. The egregious, shameless use of CGI of the late Ian Holmes' face.
Yeah.
I
just don't get
on that character.
That's the one. Okay, because repurposing lines, I agree, was stupid. It's cringy. But it's like okay, not a big deal. It's like they're trying to do that stupid fan service thing that Marvel does. It's annoying. You know,
they break.
I wish they didn't do it, but it's whatever. But the Ian Holmes, I don't get it. I just don't, because for one, that technology isn't there, dude. Everybody knows we're not at that level. Marvel, Star Wars, the biggest budgets on the planet, the best special effects artist that there is on the planet, still couldn't do that great. Like the best we have probably ever gotten was Luke Skywalker.
Hang on. I'm going to defend these guys for a second. It's not that they didn't have enough budgets. They didn't have enough time. Disney do not give their effects people.
No, I'm saying it just can't be done. I agree with you. But even the best with the most time in the world, because Luke Skywalker, everybody says that that's the best face swap ever done. And it still is not 100% convincing.
Okay, so the
other
time.
Problem, they had a lot of time with that, because that one.
The other story problems that I have are really actually more character problems. These characters, the only people that we actually get to know are Rain and Andy. We don't get to know any of these other characters. They're all just kind of dumb alien fodder.
Yeah,
and
I even said that I had an issue with that. Like, I agree. Like, because at least in the first Alien, we didn't know anybody that well, but at least we had a few little things. Like, you got a little bit like the whole, the two holding out, like, where's our money for the, you know what I mean? Like the union bullshit. And like, there were still scenes like the breakfast scene where you got to get to know people more. And like, there was at least a few scenes like that. This, we didn't really get. We had the one scene of them all together where they're just discussing the mission for a few minutes. But like, I don't know a single thing about the pilot, the Asian pilot. I don't know anything about her. Like anything. Like, what was she doing there? Like, what is her background? Like, why is she doing the mission?
They all just want to leave. The other part of me,
we know that the British dude that's the one guy's cousin. And we know that the reason he's got an issue with Andy is because his parents or his mom died. And that's what I mean.
Lazy. That's lazy. That's lazy writing.
A little bit, but at least they gave us a little bit of setup with that guy. Like, we needed a few more things like that, even if they're not the greatest, but at least some background on these people. I agree. 10 more minutes wouldn't have killed the runtime if you had given us even 5 more minutes of telling us about these characters. I agree. It would have gone a long way.
Right. The other thing is that they seem to break a lot of rules when it comes to the face huggers and the xenomorphs themselves. So the chest burster scene in Alien, it seems to take a long time for the person to get impregnated by the face hugger, and B, for the gestation process to happen so that the alien can grow to the size that it is to burst out of the chest. In Alien,
everything seems to be fast forwarded in that regard, which makes me wonder if part of the experiments and stuff they were doing on the ship caused that. Because when the baby goes from being a baby to a fully grown fucking thing, like literally in seconds.
Yeah, it's like out of nowhere. And we don't know. This is something that Laura in the comments,
the steroid thing that the needle or whatever makes me think that that's part of their experiments. Because if it was just the face huggers, I'd be like, okay. But if you think about it, it's everything on this ship. Everything seems to be like happening super fast. Like, so it makes, because we do know this is a testing station. The only reason I push back on this one is because it does seem to be, Fede came out today and said that they have ideas for a sequel, and it leads me to think that you're not going to like it, dude, but it's happening, man. Like,
I know, I understand. I get it. It's fine. It's whatever.
And I am curious with Fede. I wouldn't be surprised. And I enjoyed this. I enjoyed this a lot. Is it my favorite of the year? No. And a lot of people are saying it's their favorite movie of the year. I'm like, no. I mean, it will be in my top 10 probably, but I don't know. It's definitely not my number one. But I wouldn't be surprised if a sequel would be even better and would make this movie even better. Because Fede had a lot going against him with this. For one, the budget they had is ridiculous for how grand and big level this movie was. 80 million nowadays that's nothing. Like, movies that don't even look this good are costing 250 million. Like, that's a lot considering what he had to pull off with. I mean, especially when so much of it is done practically. Like, a ton of it is done with miniatures, practical suits. Like, that shit's expensive.
Great.
So that was one. That's one challenge. But two, this was supposed to originally be streaming. It was supposed to originally go straight to Hulu. It wasn't supposed to even have as much money of a budget as it ended up with. And so, like, a lot of this, it was like he had to kind of think on the fly, and things got changed on the fly. And so I think that a sequel, he could have more time to write it, flush it out, things like that. It could even be a better movie.
How many? I mean, I don't know, man. How much money do you need to just write a good script? How much money do you need to just pay attention?
The money is more to do with you're having to think on the fly. Things are shifting on the fly. If you wrote a movie that's originally going to be on Hulu, now all of a sudden they're telling you, actually, it's going to be theatrical release. We're going to put a bunch of money into this. You're going to have to change. Like, you have this real simple script to start with that now has to become a bigger, grander setup. Some things might not translate as well. I'm just saying, like, it went from being a straight to streaming movie
so then
to
that
like
just
this big blockbuster.
That just comes back to my original problem with these movies is, why do we need them? Why do we have to have these requels, like you called them? So we have
need a single, no movie has ever been made that needs to happen. Movies are what? Movies are
stories need to be told. No, stories need to be told. Culture needs to be,
but they're entertainment
being created and spread. No, but there is a meaningful reason for movies. I mean, let's keep it a buck.
You don't need it like you need food. You need it because we enjoy
being culture.
entertained. And a lot of people, including myself, are entertained by these. I love living in the alien world. I want to see even more of the world. And that's my biggest thing going forward. Like, if they continue to do this, it's what I'm hoping happens with the series, is that we get this universe flushed out, because we've already seen enough of the xenomorph against someone on a ship. Like, like Alien 3 is not the greatest movie. Nobody's going to say that it is, but I do like a lot of the concepts that are done in that, like being on this prison colony. Like, that's a cool idea. I wish the movie had been done better in a lot of ways, but it's still a really cool idea. And like, I want to see more of that kind of stuff, just, done better, but I still want to see more of that, in this universe. So I love living in this universe, but I think both can happen. I think you can make a sequel, but make it original and creative. It's, I understand the need Well, I understand the need for requels. It's
I don't.
how you get a modern audience interested in these movies. But my problem
mean?
is this. If you make a
Sorry.
requel, that's fine. Let's reboot that shit. Let's move on forward. But then if you do a requel, you need to already have it contractually guaranteed that the same person that made that requel is also going to get to make a sequel to that, because otherwise it's pointless to make a requel, because you're just simply rebooting the franchise for what? Look at, like, this is my problem with Hellraiser. I really enjoyed Hellraiser, but David, spaced on his last name. Anyway, David Bruckner, his hands were so tied because he's making a reboot sequel thing, right? Or in that case, it was just mostly a reboot, but he's making this reboot, but he can only do so much because he has to kind of rebuild this world and bring it to this younger audience, right? And never got a chance to do anything really original or take it anywhere because he didn't get to make the sequel where he would have taken it somewhere and done something with it. It's like this with Fede. If Fede never gets a chance to make a sequel, then we'll never know what his original ideas could have been, because he didn't really get to do any of them, because you're rebooting the franchise. You can only do so much with the reboot.
I think if your whole point is to get a modern audience, make original content. Let the classics be
That's
the classics.
a separate thing. That's a separate thing. Like,
I just don't think,
me, I'm always about original. I will always take an original every day, but coming up with an original and getting money for it is not easy, because you can have a great original idea, but getting a studio to give you, 80, 100, 200 million to do that original idea, when you end up with something like Moonfall, or you end up with something like, what's that fucking, that bullshit on Netflix? What is it? Moon.
I have no idea.
It's the guy that, damn it, what's his name?
What was that sci-fi movie that came out that was shot on a Sony FX3? Remember what I'm talking about?
There's been a lot of them.
The people with the like robot. It's had to deal with the androids, and they had to like.
Yeah. Yeah, but okay. Here's the thing. That was shot with that camera, but it was some of the best special effects artists that have ever lived were working on that.
Okay, fine. What I'm trying to say is, no.
It only was done with like a few $1 million, but it was like they had the best equipment and the best know-how to make digital effects and whatever.
Okay, that's not what I'm getting at. What I'm getting at is that was an original movie that a lot of people enjoyed that did not have the budget that you're saying it needs in order to.
Yeah, but the only reason it didn't have that kind of budget is because, like, a lot of these really low budgets, it's like a Terrifier, right? The only way a Terrifier movie can happen for the budget it does and make the money it does is because he knows how to do his own practical effects that are world class. But if he were to have to go and hire someone, it's going to cost a whole another level of money.
I understand.
It's a complicated thing. It's
what I'm trying to say.
More of them. I'm not saying they can't be done. They happen every year. Every year we see original properties that are made for very little money and end up being like super sick, dude. It happens, Talk to Me last year, as well as When Evil Lurks, to me, are very original movies that really, really good. Like, I'm not arguing that. What I'm saying is it's a separate thing. Like, having a sequel, that's the only time you're generally going to see a studio giving someone $100+ million is if it's in an IP. It's part of a known property that they know they can make back that money from.
So you would think that the studios would want more original content even within an IP because they know that the audience is already built in.
Yeah, but you can only get so original when you're working with the constraints of an IP.
What are the constraints of the Alien?
When you're making an Alien movie, you have a lot of rules already in place. You can only be so creative in that space.
No, because
and that's what I'm saying. Fede was even more handcuffed because he's making a reboot. You know, he's making bringing the franchise back. That's why I want to see what he could do with another one with the sequel.
He's making a movie that takes place 20 some odd years after Alien. All he has to do is have continuity with Alien.
No, he's got a studio in Fox telling him what he can and cannot do.
Do we know that for
sure? Yeah. What do you mean?
I don't know.
Yes.
I haven't seen him come out and say that. He actually came out and defended the Ian Holm deepfake.
Well,
and then he came back, and
that's a bad decision. He defended it. I scratched my head on that decision. I don't know what the thought behind that was, but I'm just saying there's a lot of it where you're making a property. It's different than when he did Evil Dead, right? Evil Dead was such a small budget; he could do whatever the fuck he wanted with that property.
What time do you have to get to your movie? Because I don't want to go too much longer. We've already gone like way long. And thanks for those of you who are sticking around. Appreciate that.
Yeah, I got like probably 20 minutes before I need a bill.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, like when he did Evil Dead, Sam Raimi was kind of like, dude, do your thing. It's what Sam Raimi's doing with the next two Evil Deads. Like, I don't know if you know this, but there's two both being made at the same time with two different filmmakers. It's because Sam Raimi wants to see other people take this universe and expand it with their imagination and do whatever they can come up with in that universe. And I think that's what we need to see. So like, everybody is always wanting to just stick to these IPs and these rules. And, they put all these restraints on people. Cause like you could like Hellraiser, that David Bruckner or not, but at least David Bruckner did some new shit with it. Like he tried something different. They look different. They're instead of doing the pleather fucking outfits, like it's their skin making up their suits. Like there's some cool ideas in that. And that's what I'd much rather see. Like if you're going to do a franchise, like I'm sick and tired of like, I'd much rather see a reboot than sequels. Just would. Because with a reboot, you can get creative.
I mean, sometimes. I want to address.
I'm not saying everybody does, but you can.
Yeah, I want to address what Slopra said. He said having a competent crew that was ordered by the company to recover salvage Romulus Remus would have fixed some of it. No, that would have made the movie not be able to happen. I would, however, like to have seen this movie, a crew that is ordered by the company to recover and salvage Romulus Remus. That makes for a more interesting story for me and is a better setup than what we got in this original movie. Is that Wayland Yutani's like, oh, fuck, something happened on this spaceship. Go figure it out.
That could be our sequel right there.
Yeah, but why? It's the space station is destroyed by the rings of the planet. There is nothing to recover.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
So, like, that right there, Slopra just has a better like, concept.
Yeah, I think a sequel is because we know Rain is on her way to this colony. I think that's our sequel is this other colony. Because it's about damn time we expand on this universe. If we're gonna stick in this, if we're gonna continue to make alien movies, they need to happen on other places with other villains and other things besides just the xenomorph. You can always have the xenomorph be like the big alien or whatever, but you know what I mean? Like, it's just pointless to keep making alien movies.
Okay, I guess.
I don't know. I've seen a lot of people say they want to see what Fede would do with an alien Predator movie.
There are so many issues with this movie that I want to get into.
It's still
because I don't want to let any of them go.
How many times have you seen this? Only once?
Huh?
You've only seen this once?
Yes, this is all the problems that I have after seeing this movie once in the theater. You're not going to want to hear what I have to say after the second viewing of this movie, when I can pause it.
I'm just shocked that you even stayed through the movie. I feel like it would be miserable to be you and go to movies.
I was enjoying myself.
Okay, hold on. This motherfucker, guys, Tell them what you told me, what you texted me this week. That you think the most original or the best movie this year is In a Violent Nature.
That's what I thought. As far as original concept and execution, I thought it was the best movie I've seen this year. I'll
There's
stick to
nothing
that.
original about In a Violent Nature. It's
Yes, there
literally
is.
Friday the 13th. It is literally, not figuratively, it is literally Friday the 13th.
Right. So how many Friday the 13th, how many mass slasher movies have we seen from the perspective of the killer?
And
Done
there's no
done the way
story.
that it did.
Okay, so it has one original idea.
Yeah, and I mean, I have problems with that movie too, but if you're going to talk about what's the best movie I've seen to come out this year, yeah, it's In a Violent Nature. Granted, there's other movies that have come out that I have not seen yet. So like,
yeah, I feel like there's a lot
I can only see so much. Like, as soon as I can watch 5 movies a day like you,
but
believe me, I'll have a better opinion.
I don't watch 5 a day. Have you?
It seems like it sometimes, man. The content you put out, I'm just like, does this dude sleep?
I've just seen a lot of
your
movies.
Content's great. Don't worry. That's why I love you.
I have like a good schedule that I know I need to see a certain amount every week to keep that ball rolling. Did you see Late Night with the Devil?
Yeah, Late Night with the Devil is good.
That has a lot of really unique ideas in it.
I enjoyed it as well. I guess
I still might at this point think that First Omen is my favorite movie this year.
Oh God.
It's still up there, man. Like that movie just keeps sticking in my, like the way it's done, the characters, how much it surprised me, because it's one of the few that took an IP and one that I don't even think is that good.
It's not.
And did something really cool with it and actually took, I mean, we've seen so many Exorcist movies and it actually did. Yeah, they retconned some shit.
They retconned a bunch of shit from the
Jackal. No, just the Jackal shit. That's the only
and Father Father what's his nuts? The Satanist.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of retconning.
Who was never reformed. The setup is also silly because it's like they already have a demon. They already have a jackal. Do you think that would not be enough to get people to go back to church? Demons are fuck. I know Father Karras is from The Exorcist.
Yeah,
I couldn't remember his name. That's why I said never mind, not him.
Yeah, but what did they retcon besides the jackal?
They retconned his character because in The Omen, he was one of the Satanist priests who watched Damien get born. And he was the one that also helped bring about Damien. And then afterwards had a change of heart and was like, oh, fuck, we shouldn't have done this. In the First Omen, we're made to believe that he was never a part of this cult, that he was never trying to bring about Damien, and that he was a good guy trying to protect Damien's biological mother.
Yeah.
So they just retconned his character.
I guess that is kind of a retcon, but I don't know if I'd say it's a retcon as much as just taking something and kind of expanding and slightly tweaking it. Like a retcon is completely like the jackal thing is pretty retconning it. Cause supposedly it's the son of the jackal and
right.
But
I just find it funny that a cult of Catholics are trying to bring about the Antichrist just to get people to go back to church. Never mind that when they bring about the Antichrist, that means it's the end of times. There's going to be no churches to go to. Well,
yeah, but then you're arguing with the Omen in the first place.
I just think it's a silly setup.
Especially
when they already have a jackal. They already have a demon that they can be like, look, folks, demons are real. Go to church. No, we need to bring about the fucking Antichrist. Like, come on.
But that's not the first Omen's fault. That's already built into that IP.
I don't think the reason why that's not.
That's already built into it.
No, in the Omen, this cult was trying to bring about the Antichrist to bring about the end times. They are Satanists. They're not Christians they're not Catholics trying to get people to go back to church. They are actual Satanists trying to bring about the end times. And then the First Omen retcons that. The First Omen retcons that. They're Catholics that are trying to bring about the Antichrist so that they can show people that evil is real and they should go back to church and that they can just control him. It's in the opening setup when the
that's
two.
not okay. That's not why. Okay, that's not why Lucifer wants to bring Damien, right? That's simply those people, those church people in it is how they're justifying it.
Yeah, but it's not, it doesn't come across as a justification. It comes across as this is
No,
why
that's
we want to do this,
no,
because
that's how they're justifying it in their heads.
they're saying that the
Then
world
that's
is.
what I really liked about it, because that's how Christians, like quote unquote Christians, that is how, like, I've seen it my entire life. Like, that's how religious people justify doing fucked up shit. It's like they'll twist it in a way that's like, oh, I'm still a pious Christian. I'm not doing it for this. I'm doing it for this reason. And in reality, no, you're
Right.
just a piece of shit. And like that, I thought that was actually really cool. It was a good way of, because they're two separate things in a way. Like in Damien's being born, the devil and everybody that is involved in the movie Damien, right? They're working for Lucifer to bring about the end times by bringing the mark of the beast and bringing the Antichrist, right?
Right.
First Omen is simply focusing on these, not the same people from the first movie, but it's focusing on this church sect and where, the mother of Damien, like that whole part. And so it's just showing how they are justifying their end, like their little circle, their world, on why they're doing it.
Okay, fine.
So it's different to me, because like the people from the Omen, you know what I mean? Like they're
Supposed to be the Omen.
like they're Lucifer, like cult member,
The
whatever the fuck
Omen.
you want to call them.
Yeah, but the Omen is supposed to take place right after the first Omen.
Yeah.
Like,
But
it's supposed to take place right after, so it can't be two different cults.
But it's different people with different justifications. No, because the first Omen, that's not the cult. That's like, not per se. That's not the cult. That's this church. It's this like group of nuns and this, like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't think that they're part of that same cult really as like, say, in the Omen. I felt like this is just simply this church and how these people are justifying it. But it's really Lucifer manipulating them, and they don't even see it. And that's what I think is cool about it.
What I'm trying to say is it's the same group of people. Because Father Brennan is involved.
No, they're just all working together. Like they're working together, but they have different motives.
In the Omen, Father Brennan says that he saw Damien born.
Yes. What I'm saying is they have different motives. Like they're all working to, bring about the Antichrist, but they have different motives. That's all I'm saying. The nuns and the people in the church in the first Omen, their motive, like, was like their justification was that shit. And that's what's cool about it, because they're like, yeah, the devil is using you just as much as he is these cult members from the Omen. And you guys are just too blind and like, no, we're not doing it for those reasons. We're doing it to bring Christians back to the church. Like, that's what I thought was interesting about it.
Okay.
Because that's how, like,
again,
did you grow up religious at all? Have you grown up around religious people?
I grew up higher Episcopalian, which is like Catholic light. And then,
I mean, you've seen, right? You've seen like people that think that they're all holy and shit. And then they're like, fucking some, on the side or stealing or this shit. And they justify it in the most like ridiculous ways. And you're like, dude, what? Like,
I understand. Just saying.
I thought that was cool about it. So I don't really feel like that's retconning. I just feel like it's different motives for different people. Like they may all be working together, but they're still different people in different walks of life, and they're all going to kind of have different motives on why they're doing what they're doing.
I just think that the setup was a little dumb, and I thought that the retconning of the Omen in the ways that they did was unnecessary, and I just don't know why I care that this is happening. Like why? Like Damien's mother is now alive when Father Brennan in The Omen says she's not because she was a jackal. And this also means that Damien is half human, which he's not. He is all demon. He just looks like a human. This is lore that's been established.
Yeah,
in
but the jackal. Yeah, but the jackal is a term to represent Lucifer, who is without sex.
So what did they burn?
There's just a whole, I actually
church?
saw a thing about this on why they did it for the first Omen, and it wasn't exactly retconning. They weren't trying to change the Omen. They were trying to kind of like expand on a unique, I don't know. Like, I don't
think they were trying to change
it. It was actually kind of interesting. Like,
I understand.
Why.
I don't think this was intentional. That's the problem. I think that they accidentally did this because they didn't know what they were trying to write.
No, because there's a lot.
So
of
then, if it
lore
was
behind
intentional, if it was intentional, then they were
jackal-
intentionally trying to retcon the Omen. So either it was intentional or it was an accident. I think it was an accident because I don't think the writing was very
because
fine.
they say, God, I wish I need to rewatch the Damien because it's been a while, but like the way they word it in Damien, it's not saying that he is like his actual vagina, like that he came from was a jackal.
Okay.
It's part of like religious lore and the whole, damn it.
But he was a C-section in the first Omen. He gets cut out of her. So he wasn't birthed.
You know what I meant.
I'm just, come on, man.
It's saying he's birthed of the jackal. And
right. Which this character in the first Omen was not.
In the first Omen, the jackal is the demon.
Right. But he was birthed from this woman.
No.
So either that's
she's simply his vessel. No. She's his vessel. And that's what.
But she was impregnated after the nightclub scene. That's when she was raped and impregnated. That's what the movie said.
No, she wasn't.
What? Yes, that's what the movie says. She goes to the club because her friend is in the cult. She's in on it. She took her to the club specifically to get her drugged, knocked out, taken to the basement, knocked up by the jackal to carry and give birth to the Antichrist. Like, that's literally what the movie says.
But she's the vessel.
She got raped.
Like, yeah, but it's a demon,
just because
dude.
She's carrying it, that means
it's a demon.
Part of her DNA is now infused with this child, these twins, right? Because she gave birth to twins. She has the daughter now.
If I was to make first Omen, I still would have done it this the way they did it, and I'm just defending it regardless.
I wouldn't have made the first Omen.
I wouldn't have had a fucking jackal.
Movie.
I'm sorry, I would not have made the chick in the movie turned into a jackal. Like, we would all have been talking way more shit about the movie if they had some fucking jackal giving birth to a baby.
But that's not the only way that you can go with it.
I like what they did because I felt like there are ways you can, like, is it technically a retcon? Yeah, but it's like kind of an interpretation thing, which I think is cool because in religion, everything is all about interpretations and, like, calling weird names for this and that and the other, and saying that he is birth of the jackal, his mother is the jackal. You could easily translate that to be the demon. He's of the demon. Like, the mother is nothing to do with, like, in the first Omen, she's got nothing to do with the demon element.
Then why in the Omen did Father Brennan say, I witnessed the birth, his mother is a jackal? Like, that doesn't sound like he's being cryptic and like writing 1,000-year-old Hebrew manuscripts about the Revelation that's being mistranslated.
Is that what he says verbatim?
Yeah. Yes.
Watch my
review. Watch my review of it.
What review? Oh, of the first Omen?
I post that clip in the Omen where he's in the office of
like I said, I'm just defending it because I wouldn't have made a movie with a fucking woman, like with a jackal giving birth to the baby either.
Listen, man, if I needed somebody,
I like what they did. Like, I think that's part of what it comes down to, even with Alien Romulus, is I'm not someone that cares about semantics. I'm not someone that cares about sticking to the lore and like, I don't
Story,
care if you like, truth
character.
is, I don't care if you retcon. I don't care. Like, you know, you're an artist, you're making some shit, like make some shit, make it entertaining, make it fun, make it look cool. You know, the visuals are of a movie is why I go to see a movie versus reading a book. Like the visuals are the most important part, you know, the visuals, the mood, all the things that you can't put in a book.
I don't know, man. I think reading a book gives you a lot more vivid mental image of what things look like. I mean, that's why
Which is
people
why
have.
you should be reading and not watching movies.
I also read, but I love movies. This is my passion. My horror movies are my passion. This is what I love.
You like to hate on movies.
I don't hate on them. I do not hate
you
critiquing story and character, things that are integral to a movie because it's visual storytelling. It's not hate,
Sometimes
it's love. It is love.
Nah, with
This is
Alien
my
Romulus, you are
passion.
hating
So
on
I
it.
wake up in
You
the
are
morning.
hating on it. You are
I'm not.
pooping on the Alien Romulus party.
Listen, I love that you enjoy it. I love that for you. I'm envious that you can watch movies like this and have fun and enjoy
Dude,
yourself.
I
and,
heard
like,
it.
I'm
I heard it
envious.
said perfect. I heard it said perfect by Kara Beck from Dead Meat. She said Alien Romulus was a blast, a great movie, had a great time with it until I watched it the second time. It doesn't hold up. She's like, it doesn't hold up to criticism. And that's a great way of putting it. It doesn't. Like if you start to pick it apart, you start to look for the flaws, it's like a thread and it's going to unravel. Like I
Great movies that doesn't
luckily
happen
am
to me.
able. I didn't say it was a great, like anybody that says this is like an all-time great is crazy. I will say
That's what everybody's
it's the
saying. That's what all
third. No, most people are saying what I'm saying, that it isn't perfect. It is flawed, but it's the third best in the franchise.
Laura in the chat seems to think that it's fucking airtight and there's no issues at all.
That's fine.
I've been
That's
reading
fine.
you, Laura.
What's up, the Jostler? I mean, that dude, everybody is entitled to feel however they want to feel. Like, I've seen this movie 4 times. Like, I've seen it more than that, but I've watched it 4 times where I've actually paid attention to it. You know, it's not a perfect movie. It's definitely got a lot of the same problems that you have with it. I do as well. Differences, they just didn't take away from me enjoying it.
Well,
You
I'm
know?
very happy.
I love the visuals of it. I really like the acting. And even though we didn't get enough from the side characters, our main 2 characters, I thought did great, performed great in it. I loved the practical effects. I love the xenomorph. I really enjoy the creature at the end, which surprised me because I didn't think I would enjoy that thing. And at first I was like, what the fuck? But then as it went on, I was like, this thing is getting creepier and creepier and more unnerving and making me uncomfortable. I love the acid fight at the end. It's got a fun climax.
I can't find my keys.
It's just a fun movie. Are you in your new apartment?
Yeah.
Nice.
That's why it's barely set up. That's why I have posters over there. I managed to get this one hung up of my
poster
of my short film, but I got those still out there.
Why is it so crooked? Or is your camera just
my
crooked?
camera's? I think it's my camera. Hang on, let me hang on.
I'm like, that poster is way crooked.
There, is that better?
Yeah.
There you go.
It's just because everything is dark on the what's it called, the horizon line or whatever, so you can't tell what straight is. It's like the back of your couch is dark and all like curvy.
I know. I'm getting set up. Okay, I've been in this apartment 2 days. So I will get better lighting and better decoration. Don't worry. Sloper says great
cable.
He says great horror sci-fi is precious to me. Me too, because it's so rare. Gatekeeping allegations are conflating with the criticism with being a hater. Thank you. It's not hating. Gatekeeping is good. Criticism is good.
No, gatekeeping is really, really, really not fucking good.
We need gatekeeping.
No, you don't. Because gatekeeping means that you're criticizing others for their enjoyment. Fuck that.
No, that is not what it is. That's not what it is.
Now,
Gatekeeping
you
is making
could
sure.
push back on saying it's not a great. There's different levels of gatekeeping, but the term gatekeeping is used against other people, and it's used as like a weapon. And that
Gatekeeping
I have a
is
big issue with.
you just
It's
said there
like
was
the
levels
same
to
as
gatekeeping.
saying what is horror and what's not. Fuck that. I had people all day long in my comments saying shit like, that's not horror. Why are you talking about fucking Sleepy Hollow? It's not horror.
I
You know, why are
understand.
you talking about this and that? It's not horror. Like,
There,
fuck that,
yes,
dude. People
there
can
are
be and feel however they want to feel about whatever the hell they want to feel about.
I understand that there's degrees of gatekeeping. Okay. I'm just saying gatekeeping is not inherently bad, that a bunch of bad actors and infiltrators into a hobby want to say that it is, just so they can come in and fuck everything up and then call you names because you don't like their bullshit.
But there is a huge difference between pointing out problems with something and like calling a movie a pile of shit and saying like, what is wrong with everybody for liking this? You know what I mean? Like, you could point out flaws with the movie. You could say that it's got problems. Like I said about Stream, it's definitely not a perfect movie. There's plenty of problems with it, but it's still fun. And I'm not going to hate on anybody for having a good time with it.
I'm not hating on anybody for having a good time. None of my critiques are ever like, anybody who likes this are stupid. Like I have never said that. You and I know you can attest to that. I only
saying
go
that you
after
did.
the movie and its qualities itself. I don't care if somebody likes the movie. If you like Alien Romulus, good for you. I mean, that's great. Just don't try to argue that it's a good movie to me, because then you'll have to then do that. You can't just say I like it, therefore it's good. Like I can't say I didn't like it, therefore it's bad, right? Because I can't say that. You then cannot say it's good because I liked it.
I much rather discuss a movie like Alien Romulus where I'm not going to argue with almost any of your criticism or most people's criticism out there. I'm not saying it's wrong. It's not. Like, these are problems with the movie. I just don't think that they took away enough from the movie to take away why it also is an enjoyable, good movie.
Well,
is it great? I'm not going to say it's great, but I will say it's a good movie. The difference is what drives me crazy is conversations about movies like Long Legs or Cuckoo. Long Legs especially, because Long Legs is a great movie. Not a good movie, it's a great movie. That's just misunderstood by a lot of people, and a lot of people don't connect with it, don't understand it. And that's a big difference. Like, you know what I mean? Like, if someone doesn't understand, like if there's a mathematical equation and someone doesn't understand it and they say it's a wrong equation or whatever, wrong answer to a question they don't understand, that's frustrating. But if you're going to, say, well, no, I understand the problem, I just don't agree with the answer. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
I'd rather discuss those kind of movies.
When it comes to Long Legs, I have to give that movie a revisit and maybe see if my opinion changes. But my original opinion of Long Legs was that it was a serviceable movie. I just think it had some issues. I thought it was still good. I thought Nick Cage was fantastic. I thought it had some story issues, and I thought the characterization was a little
see, that's
off.
what I'm talking about, where like in that movie versus Romulus, every criticism I've heard anybody give Long Legs, immediately I'm okay with it because I'm like, that's fine. But I'm like immediately like, they didn't get it. They don't understand. Like, there's a reason, like there's a reasoning behind everything in Long Legs. Like Cuckoo's the same way. Everything is in it for a reason. You don't have to like it. That's fine. It could just not be your cup of tea.
We don't get the answer. The movie does not answer the big why in Cuckoo. And so therefore that's why I can't tie all those threads together.
But that's the reasoning though.
Like
movies like Cuckoo,
reject.
It's intentionally meant to be that. Like, you don't have to like that.
It's intended to be a not complete story. It's intended to be, and
it's meant to.
There is no why. The intention is there is no why, even though
I feel like everything is not as much as long legs, but I do feel like a big amount of cuckoo is intentional. And so you're like, there's a difference, right? Like with what I'm trying to get at is like with Alien Romulus, there's some choices that I'm like, some people may or may not like the choices, like the creature at the end. You may not like the look of it or like the choice of doing that, but it's not really a flaw in the movie. It's more of just a choice you may not like, versus there's things like you said with the script, things that don't make sense, things that are holes, things that are just not that well written. Like, that's not debatable, as in, like, that's not a matter of opinion. That's not a matter of understanding or not. That's just a matter of, it's not a flaw, or it's not an airtight script. You know what I mean?
Right. And that's what I think. So for Cuckoo, we're talking about Cuckoo still?
No, I was saying about Romulus. Like,
Oh, Romulus. Well, it's definitely
it's
not.
not
Oh,
an
yeah, sorry.
airtight
It's
script.
definitely
So
not an
like,
airtight. Yeah, sorry.
yeah, and
my
so
mind's
that's not
sorry.
debatable. It's like, it's just not an airtight script. But like, that's the difference. Like, sometimes you can just not like a choice, and that's something that frustrates me. Is I wish more people could kind of like separate those two. Be like, I didn't like the creature like at the end of Alien Romulus. Like, I personally really like it, but I could get people that are like, I didn't like it. It looks weird to me. It looks stupid. Like, I think it's a dumb decision, like whatever. But if someone's like, it's a bad decision, it's a problem with the script to have that at the end or whatever, I'd be like, no, dude, it's just a preference thing.
Well,
Like,
I
you
thought
know what I mean? Like, there's a
I
big
thought there was a
difference.
problem with why that thing it even existed. It.
But
I
that,
made a note of it.
no, but that's different.
Oh,
Like, what I'm talking about is, like, a lot of people just mostly have an issue with it. Like, if you have an issue with it because of that, like a script thing, that's fine. I'm not even really talking about that. I don't know what it could be
you're just talking
or
about the
whatever.
design?
Yeah, I'm like, if anybody, like most people had a problem with it because of the way it looked, or the simple fact that they're doing what they did in, what is it, Resurrection, right? Like, kind of redoing what they did in Resurrection. Like, that is a preference thing.
Yeah.
And it's fine if you don't like it because of that. But like, it's not, you can't state something as it's bad, I guess is what I'm getting at. That's what drives me crazy. Like, stating something that you don't like because you don't like it, that's a preference thing. That's a matter of opinion. That's great. When you
Right.
say a movie's bad
You
based
need to
on a
argue it.
preference thing, that's what drives me crazy.
Oh, okay. Yeah. No, that is what I just said. I can't say I didn't like it, therefore the movie's bad. I can't say that. That's not fair. Just like
Yeah.
somebody else can't say I like the movie, therefore it's good. You have to make arguments.
That's what I
way.
was saying about Long Legs. Like,
Yeah.
with Long Legs, I heard way too many people say the movie's bad, and I'm like, no. Like, technically, there's so many things that it's like, no, you cannot. I've heard people say When Evil Lurks is bad, and I'm like, if you say that, you just literally don't understand filmmaking, storytelling, acting.
I wouldn't go that far. I thought, I mean, I really liked When
Just
Evil
say
Lurks.
it's bad.
No, I didn't. No, I thought it was a good movie.
No, I'm
I
saying
thought it
I've
was
heard
good.
people say When Evil Lurks is bad, and that's what
I would.
like, if someone says it's bad, I'm like, you don't understand filmmaking. You don't understand
I,
film. You don't understand storytelling. Like, there's
you're
no
worse
way.
than me. I would at least entertain their arguments. I'd be like, well, then tell me why it's bad. Why is this movie bad? What's the problem with it? That's what I'd like to hear first. I wouldn't be like, you think it's bad, you just don't understand filmmaking. That's wow.
Because you know what their no, because what their answer in that case is, I didn't like it.
All right, well,
Because no one, I have
right.
not heard a single person, like, there's only certain movies that are this way, right? Like, I've heard a lot of people say Exorcist is bad. I've heard people say that Alien is bad. I've heard a lot of people this week say Alien is bad. Like, what? Alien's bad. Fuck that movie. I like Romulus way better. Like, and that is me. Like,
I would be like, tell me why.
I'm sorry, but that means you just don't know film. You just don't know storytelling. You don't know acting. Like, you just don't get it. And that's like, if you say I didn't like it, I'm all for that. I'm not the biggest Exorcist fan. I'm definitely not the biggest Omen fan.
Yeah, I don't like the
You
Omen.
know, like
I shouldn't say I don't like the Omen. I just didn't think it was that great. That's all.
I'm not saying either of those movies I don't dislike. I'm just saying I have never been a big fan of.
Yeah, no, I get it.
I just think it's kind of slow, and it's kind of like, okay, like, and there's not a ton special to it. I feel like it's one of those movies that I didn't see when I was young. I didn't see before I'd already seen a whole bunch of other movies that did a similar thing and did it kind of better. And so, like, that's a problem when you see, like, if you had seen The Omen and that was the very first,
Demon Kid
Antichrist demon. Yeah. If that was the first one, which it was, besides Rosemary's Baby. So if you like, that was one of the first ones that it exists. So you saw it then, I get it. You know, it's kind of the same thing with The Exorcist. I didn't see The Exorcist as my very first demonic possession movie. If I had, I think it would have had a much bigger impact.
Yeah, maybe. So. All right. I don't want to make you late to your movie. You got to get out of here.
I'm running way late. Yep.
All right. Well, thanks everybody for watching. That's going to do it for us. We went a whole over 2 hours. This is like back when we first started.
Yep. If you guys have any questions we've missed in the comments, it sucks. We have been going at it and didn't read a lot of what you guys have been saying. But if you have anything to say, put it in the actual physical comments. We will get back to you. Like one of us will.
We like hanging out. Thanks guys for bearing with us on this Thursday. We usually have the show on Wednesday. So if you like what you heard, please come back next Wednesday, 7 p.m. and Eastern, 7 p.m. Eastern, whatever time that is in your time zone. And we will talk to y'all next week.
Thanks guys.
Peace out.